Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Silicon Valley Business Travel blog with Al Gilbert. I am recording this. Normally, we print a blog, but today we're doing something a little different. We are meeting with Jeff Berk. He is the CEO of Tripkicks and based in New York. He's going to tell us a little bit about Tripkicks and also about what he's doing during this pandemic. Welcome, Jeff.
Thanks, Al. Great to be here. Nice to connect.
It's good to connect with you too. So how are you and your family doing?
We're doing well. Thank you for asking. I've got a wife and two very little kids, so we spend a lot of time at home, but even in a non-pandemic environment, at this point, we'd probably still be spending a lot of time at home.
Good. And home is New York City, Manhattan, or outside New York?
I'm a little outside New York. I'm north of the city in Westchester.
Okay. Okay, good. I was curious, what were your parents' profession?
My mother was a teacher, so she was
Uh-huh.
a nursery school and kindergarten teacher for many years. And my father was a jeweler. Actually worked in the Diamond District in Manhattan.
Oh, cool. All right. And you attended the Bronx High School of Science, right?
I did. Yep. I grew up in Queens, New York. I'm very much a New Yorker. Went to high school in the Bronx. Lived in Brooklyn, years later. So I've I've spent a lot of time in all of the boroughs. But yeah, Bronx
Well,
Science.
the high school, the Bronx High School of Science sounds very, very smart. So were you a gifted nerd, or were you a high school sports superhero as well?
I was definitely, I know it's hard to tell on video conferencing, but I am definitely not a sports superhero. I'm about 5'6" and 140 pounds. So there's not a lot of options there. No, I wouldn't call myself a gifted nerd either. I was, I'm a hard worker. I always have been very, very dedicated to what I put my mind to. So that's really, what I saw through school as well.
Good for you. So in your previous assignments, you worked for IBM and other companies in the past. When you were working there, did you get involved in any travel or travel technology engagements as a management consultant?
Kind of an interesting question. So yeah, I started my career with IBM. Out of school, I knew I wanted to go into business, didn't know quite what. So management consulting was a great foray into that. You get to do a lot of different things, learn about a lot of different, aspects of business. So at IBM, I actually did get into travel a little bit in an indirect way. My first big projects were what was called like PMO, or project management organization. And I was actually working on the largest services project that IBM had ever sold at that point in time, hundreds of millions of dollars, many years. So we were tasked with basically bringing a team of 100 people, from IBM to a location and everything that's involved with that. So that was a little bit of my responsibility, was making that happen, helping to coordinate that, everything from where these people going to stay to, when they get here, what questions are they going to have about this new home, right? Because it's like a lot of consulting, you're there Monday through Thursday, you're spending more time on site than you are at your actual home. So, you want to make sure people are comfortable and well taken care of.
Okay, cool. So Richard Branson, he founded Virgin Atlantic Airlines back in the '80s to solve an airline problem. He was on a trip or a holiday to the Caribbean, and the airline he was flying on screwed it all up. So he decided he could do a better job of running an airline, and so he started it. What problem did you experience personally or see in the marketplace that you wanted to solve by opening Tripkicks?
Yeah, so it's a good question. With Tripkicks, we saw an opportunity and see an opportunity to make business travel better. I know it's a super broad statement, but what that really means to us is, focusing on some of those areas that have maybe been a little, underserved by existing players, some of those emerging trends that companies want to see in place within their programs, but they're having a hard time really materializing that. So that's really what we wanted to do. We saw an opportunity with, a number of years ago, as companies kind of went away from trying to build everything themselves and embracing more of like a partnership mentality. And we see that today with a lot of like the marketplaces that exist, right? Everyone's got their own like partner marketplace that provide ancillary services. So we saw that trend really starting to happen in travel, and thought there were a lot of good opportunities to, to focus on some of those areas, specifically that would better improve traveler experience in the corporate market. So that's really what led to the start of Tripkicks.
So I originally thought Tripkicks was an online booking tool, but it's not. It's actually an add-on to existing booking tools.
That's correct. Yep. That's very much what we are. A great way to describe it. We are an add-on. We're not taking the place of an online booking tool. We're not a travel agency. We are specifically designed to work in tandem with those types of providers and companies, and we partner with many of them to really make business travel better and to bring more value for travelers and also for corporations.
Well, the idea of bringing value for travelers is like the idea that you're making me happy. It's kind of broad. I'm not really sure, if all our customers get that. Just as an aside, who are your partners in founding this company, and why did they join you or you joined them?
Sure. We actually spun out. So after IBM, I joined Aquis Consulting Group, a management consulting firm based out of New York. They've done for a long time and still do a lot of work in travel and expense. So I was the managing director there. Myself and the founder, CEO of Aquis, we kind of saw this opportunity together. Decided that I would essentially leave Aquis and go start up Tripkicks with a lot of their support. So we actually spun out of a larger management consultancy who we still partner with very closely.
Okay. So I think it's a very unique concept. Would you consider your product a competitor among equals, a significant improvement over existing competition, or a brand new category?
Yeah, so we've done a couple of things. It's another interesting question. So we started out as you and others might know, like the first product that we really brought to market was around rewarding travelers for going above and beyond, right? This concept that we could better align the incentives of the company and the traveler, and if the traveler was able to make decisions that better saved the company money and brought value, they could share in some of that savings. So that's really what we started out doing. We found that we were constantly, and maybe this is a little bit of the consulting background, but we were constantly looking to see, what other challenges our clients had and how we might be able to help solve them. So one of the areas that we were looking at in 2019, in late 2019, was actually this concept around, what else could we provide travelers that might be valuable to them when they're looking to book a trip, right? Putting ourselves in the traveler's perspective and saying, what do I want to know when I'm thinking about traveling for business? And one of the items that that was kind of leading the way in our discussions was around sustainability. Wouldn't it be really powerful if we could show travelers what the most eco-friendly options were? And that was something that was part of pretty much all of our conversations with clients and prospects at that time. So we started working on that early in 2020, and of course, we all know what happened. A few months later. So we actually saw an opportunity where the concept of providing travelers more information was actually going to get a lot more important, and maybe for different reasons that we had initially started. So we again kind of put ourselves in the traveler's position and said, what as a traveler, what am I going to need to know to be able to book a trip, to feel comfortable traveling again, at the time when, businesses and travelers are ready to get back on the road. So that kind of led to what's been our focus for really the past year around our insights product and that whole concept of point of sale information to help, instill traveler confidence and also, give the companies a little bit more confidence that they're doing more for their travelers. So it was again, still that add-on concept that we were looking to really augment existing programs that had corporate travel agencies that have online booking tools. So we actually don't really see a lot of competition in the marketplace. And when some people think like, oh, well, isn't a travel agency trying to do that? Isn't an online booking tool trying to do that? Those are a lot of our partners. So we're really, we see ourselves as kind of filling a void that that wasn't true.
Yeah, no, I sorry to interrupt. I definitely think you're on the right track because I did back earlier this year, I did a study of 7 online booking tools, various among categories and functions and values. And there was only one among 7 that was even close to providing information about COVID restrictions. So I think you definitely have a new category. And I think what's also important, Jeff, is that any supplier can provide inventory. Not everybody can provide information,
Right.
particularly relevant information.
That's exactly right.
So, you're providing relevant information around COVID restrictions, eco-friendly flights, flights with most seats. The one thing I'd like to see, if it's maybe in development, is I want to see the flights that have the most aisle seats or window seats, not that have just the most seats, empty seats. Is that possible?
Anything's possible with technology nowadays. It's just a question of how to get it done.
Yeah. Now, the idea of the eco-friendly flights, I know this sounds selfish on my part, but I don't really care. I know the Europeans really do because they're kind of politically and financially motivated that way. But do you think here in the U.S. Travelers are really choosing flights on the basis of being eco-friendly?
I think we're seeing a lot more of that. And I think what we're going to see even more when travel does come back is, over the past 1 to 2 years, we've had a lot of these very large companies that we all, and regardless of what industry, you're in, you're looking at what Microsoft and others are doing, right? And there are a lot of new corporate mandates where, it is a corporate goal to be carbon neutral. Al, you might be on mute.
Yes, I had to talk to my wife a moment ago.
All good. I thought there's a lot of new corporate mandates. So I think we're seeing that trickle down even more where, first you go after the easier categories around like, what is your, if you have a manufacturing plant, what's that producing and what's the impact of that for the environment? And as more companies kind of tackle those areas, they're starting to get more into travel. So I think it's both, there's an awareness at the traveler level that, maybe it's not as big as it is in some places in Europe, of course. But we're going to see more of that from the top down, and that's going to make its way into travel programs.
All right. So here's an idea. You can report, I suspect, on the amount on the number or percentage of flights that were booked on an eco-friendly basis, correct?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So as many investors, like myself and my wife, we are interested in socially responsible investing. We don't invest in tobacco companies or maybe energy companies. So possibly a seller could speak to a customer and saying, we know that you're socially responsible, focus on sustainability. This is what our travelers do. Our travelers actually do choose flights according to, among other things, eco-friendly levels. And here's a report on it. So it could be a selling point for some people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
I was going to ask you if you have a family or if you were still living the dream as a bachelor, but I know you have a family.
Yeah,
so,
I've got two, almost 4. My kids are turning 4 and 2 in the next few months. So,
wow. Okay.
It's a different dream, right? It's living a very different style than a bachelor.
Yeah. I commend you. You're on a day-to-day basis, you're looking for funding and customers the same way many of my colleagues are looking for jobs. How do you keep up your spirits? Who do you turn to when things get a little rough?
Oof, yeah. It's been the past several months have been really challenging for us. We've been seeing a lot of demand for our product, and it's been trying to keep up, trying to roll out new features and functionalities. We're a small team. We're in the process of changing that and adding to the team a little bit more, so we could continue to accelerate. But honestly, we were fortunate in putting together the team. We've got such incredible people that are dedicated to what we're doing. I kind of mentioned a little bit of my work ethic earlier. I look at my colleagues and they surpass me, right? So I think that has a lot to do with keeping our spirits up. And like a lot of folks, travel's going to return, right? Might be less a little bit in the future, but we know it's going to return. And we know it's going to continue to be important for organizations, for as long as relationships are important in business. So we're doing what we can to, help facilitate the return of travel for companies. That's really our focus right now.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think you clearly you are being successful because you recently posted a position for a sales account executive. Is that job still open?
It's currently still open. Yeah, we have another few jobs that are about to come out as well, but team's working on some of the
No?
the job.
Okay. Well, I know many of my colleagues are qualified, to apply. If when they are, where would you like them to apply? What's the best way to apply?
They could apply through the website. Um, Through our website, there's a careers page. If they're seeing the post on LinkedIn, that can direct them there.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, I think it's a great company. As I said, I think you've got a niche. Um, uh, the most important thing for people to understand, in my view, is that it's not an online booking tool.
Right.
It is a complement to existing tools. I think you have a partnership with Concur, correct?
That's right. Yep.
Any others, or at the moment, or in the pipeline?
A couple of others are in the works right now, actually. But yeah,
Okay,
we've had a partnership with Concur for a few years now.
excellent.
Mhm.
All right. Well, we've been talking with Jeff Berk, the CEO of Tripkicks, from the cold and windy city of New York. So, Jeff, we appreciate it and we wish you well and good luck. And if anyone would like to apply, they know where to reach you.
All right.
Okay, take
Bye
care.
now.